Hi, welcome to Buckle Book Haul for the 6th of February. Now, I went up to a comic convention yesterday and loved it. Great comic convention, thoroughly enjoyable up in London. And I'm just going to go through some of the books. Also, some of the books I got last week as well. So, just going to go through them all. Things like Marvel Team Up. I've just given up waiting for Marvel Team Up, the Omnibus Edition, Marvel Team Up, the Epic Collection. One day it might turn up. Who knows? I know most of the stories are actually spread over multiple different epics. Maybe that's the reason they haven't released it. But of course, the Essential one is pretty good as well. It's all in black and white, but I'm used to black and white. I love black and white from obviously the 60s and 70s, reading comics in the UK, all in black and white. Now, this condition is not very good. just while I was opening it, it's split. But still, you've got some great stories. And that, at the end of the day, is all that really matters to me. Still, Marvel Team Up, the Essential one. So if you're looking for a great collection of essentials, Marvel Team Up, that's it. Now, I love this magazine. This has got some of the weirdest artwork and photography. Brilliant. Aesthetica. Now, this is issue 111. I get this every couple of months. And it's just great. Great magazine full of just truly weird and wonderful artwork. And, well, it's always a surprise. So, always a great one there. Now, this one was an odd one to buy. But I bought it because I started reading about Ace Comics. And I thought, well, actually, I haven't got any Ace Comics at all. So I thought, well, I'll get this one. Real Love. Romance from Life. As you do. It's okay. I would say the stories are average at best. But also, another thing that's slightly annoying with these things, they never put any credits at all. Literally, it's just a story, bang, another story, another story, another story. And this is printed bi-monthly by A.A. Wynn, June 1956. So this is the only comic I've got from Ace Comics. Now, this book is probably one of my favourites. Now, I grew up reading these books back in the 60s. Most of them were from the 50s. And this book just covers a lot of material. Alice and Martin Provensen. Now, I didn't know about this until a couple of weeks ago. I was just looking online. I suddenly saw it. I thought, ooh, that sounds interesting. And I looked at the artwork and I just love this art. I will be doing a proper review of this. But this book is just full of truly beautiful artwork all the way through. Just stunning, absolutely amazing stories. Now, this covers all the periods, 1951 all the way through 1964. I mean, this one there, the Greek one there, just absolutely beautiful artwork. I remember reading many of these when I was growing up. Just a lovely, lovely type, real, very slick, very the art of, really worth checking out. Now, let's get to some of the ones I actually bought yesterday. These ones came from Amazon. Got a few other ones as well, of course. This one, Mort Walker, reduced to clear. I love a reduced to clear. £5. You can't beat that. And I always loved this character, Beetle Bailey. And there's quite a bit of Beetle Bailey in here. There's also lots and lots of great pics all the way through it. Lots and lots of related material. And I thought, well, for £5, this is just a lovely history of, and also a scrapbook of Mort Walker. So thoroughly enjoyable, very, very sick. Originally, I don't know how much it was, but I can't make it out. Unfortunately, I've got a £5 sticker on there. This was from Gosh. Gosh had put a number of items on. Now, I don't know why I mentioned it, because now I noticed, I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, there was a Gosh thing. I went down to look for some of these books. I thought, oh, I must go next day. And they're all gone. I thought, oh, maybe I should never mention it. But still, Gosh is just the best book shop. It's just great. Right in the centre of Soho. Really worth checking out. Love all their selections of books. Downstairs is great. They've got all the comics. Always great to go to. Far better than Forbidden Planet. I mean, I like Forbidden Planet, but Gosh is my favourite. This one, TV comic, starts day, Space Patrol. Obviously doesn't start today. This is from 1964. Now, I think I bought this for £1. It's just one of those things you just, oh, you know what? But especially for things like that. The Milky Bar Kid. No, I'm not going to start. Nestle's Milky Bar. And I just love this one. I don't think it's got Doctor Who, actually. I flicked through it briefly. I think it's got some unusual ones like Dickie Henderson Family, Mighty Mort. I loved Mighty Mort. Grew up thoroughly enjoying that character. I also got the TV Terrors, Foo. Now, some of these, I must admit, until just I haven't been looking at it, but you've got Fireball XL5 as well. So it's just nice to have that. I just love these sort of TV comic ones. I've got a few of the annuals, but I think I might have one or two TV comics, I think, later. I think because Doctor Who was in one or two of these. Now, these are odd ones. Now, again, this was another pack I bought for £1. There's 3 in the thing. I didn't realise it was 3. It's always nice when you open it up and you suddenly think, oh, just 1. And then suddenly, oh, actually there's 3 issues. Silver Star now. House of Shadows. I love ones with stories and some artwork and various adverts. And, you know, I mean, they're not going to set the world alight probably. So, I mean, there might be some really great stories. I haven't read it yet. But it has got some great artwork. And that's the reason I bought it as well. Garage Girl. You can't beat. Great story, Garage Girl. Jane Morris just loved working on cars in her father's garage. She was as happy as a lark. Thought it was something else. Happy as... Anyway. But still. So you got Silver Star. And there's another one here. Tender, sensational, passionate, moment of danger. And another one. I don't know what this one is. Short romances features picture story. False wife. Secretly she left her bedroom at midnight. Next day she was completely... Oh no. But this one, I sold my baby. You can really tell great stories in these sort of things. Great artwork as well. I mean, actually, you know who that looks like? Oh, that is... I didn't even realise. You know, that... I wonder if that's from Romance, one of those, the EC one. Because of the way it's done. That's Jack Kamen, isn't it? I think. Just looks like Jack Kamen's work. I'm the worst person in the world for identifying artists. But I think that is definitely an EC. Bit of EC artwork, just something tucked away there, which is good. I'd say £4 for 3 of them. And I love also the adverts as well. You've got here, Twink. I've never heard of that. Twink. Obviously some soap. One lotion, home permanent. Whatever that means. Full head size, 60 curls. I assume it's for curls. Suddenly, for some weird reason, I thought it was soap initially, but Twink, apparently it's something else. However, I got this as well, which I was really pleased about. One of my favourites. I love this one. It's got 2 really favourite stories. And I had this, obviously, ages and ages ago. Power comic. 15th April 1967. One of my, probably, near enough, earliest comics. Submariner joins. Actually, it's got 3 stories I really like. Just saying that. It's also been drawn in as well. And well done, which is always good. One of my favourites. Thor, trapped by the carbon copy man. I love it. Al Hartley. Just... Dr. Blake, look the... That's the oddest Dr. Blake of all. But just absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, the stories are always split in half. So you end up, oh, wonder what happened. Well, you know what happened. Thor wins. Strange. But you've got fan mail, which is always great to read. But this, someone's drawn it and actually done well. I mean, that is quite nice to draw. I mean, they should have got obviously a job as inker there. Or maybe penciler or felt tip penner. But it's still, I think that's pretty good. Not bad. And Magneto's even the right colours. Which is better than sometimes you get some magazines and you suddenly think, why is Magneto yellow? But you got Submariner. Of course, I just watched the film. The Namor one with obviously Black Panther, Wakanda film. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Okay, I'm probably very easily pleased, but I thought it was actually generally a good film. I thought it was well done. I'm not going to say any, I don't want to put any spoilers in it, but I genuinely loved it. And Missing Link. Now there's Secret Invasion. Now I'm thinking about cancelling my Disney Plus, only for a bit. I just can't. I've got too many subscriptions with things. I think some things have got to go. I love the artwork on the Missing Link one. So I might not watch Secret Invasion until a little bit later. But still, terrific. First issue there. And the Avengers. Actually, I also picked up, and I didn't buy it, but it was a smash and wham. And it had Daredevil in. And I don't know why I didn't buy it, but I just one of those things. And the way they done it was like so... The panel structure was like the weirdest. Like they'd thrown it all in as if they cut all the panels up and then threw it up in the air and then put it all back together again. And it was, I don't think it was that bad, but it was near enough. You think, what? It was just literally the whole story like crammed in about 2 pages. It was so weird. Can't remember which story it was, but it was one of the Daredevil ones. But you got here Dr. Payne or I was never certain, Mr. Dole. Mr. Dole, I think they renamed it. There was some renaming there, but still. So you got Dole there. And this is, of course, a classic because it's got... But again, yes, another bit of really good colour in there. Excellent. And I always love that sequence. That was just great where you actually have just doing it by panel. Just classic. I suppose that's the reason why the person got the Magneto right, the colours. Because he's on the back. And not only that, he was called the Miraculous Magneto. Never heard of him called that. The Man You Love to Hate. Oh, no. Pretty bad, isn't it? Poor old... Now, I could have picked up loads of these. I had piles and piles and piles of these, but I didn't. This was in Gosh, Forbidden Worlds. And Went back a little bit later, didn't find them at all. So either the box was taken away or someone has probably thought, yes, I'm going to buy all of them, because they're all gone as far as I could see. Maybe they're back there again today. When I next go up to London, I will pop along and see if I can find another one. They had a few adventures and things and various things, but I thought, oh, I haven't got a Forbidden Worlds, so I get that one. And it's got some great artwork. It's always good. I've got 5 or 6 of these now. Now, step by step, all ACG comics. And they got the adverts, they got everything, cover art by Ogden Whitney, and so on. Lots and lots of great stories. So these ones are always worth checking out. PS Artbooks, and this is collected works for £10. Really good value. This one, the guy just handed it to me. I don't even know what it is. It's obviously a Mandalorian and Star Wars one, but for some reason he just gave this thing. Oh, okay. He obviously had a pile of them and decided to give them. It's got lots and lots of bits and pieces of Star Wars and other things. I thought maybe it was going to be for his shop. Obviously, it says here Frankie's Comics. I have no idea. I assume maybe that's the shop that he was. But still, a lot of Star Wars in there. Very nice magazine. Now I got this one, Marvel Superheroes. It was a cheapo one, and I thought, well, you know what? Number 14, I love this one, the Spidey story. It's one of those odd Spidey stories that doesn't fit anywhere. I don't know who did it, why they did it. I vaguely remember, but it's Ross Andrew, but it's done by Bill Everett. Inked by, as it says, embellished by. I think in many ways that is supposed to be a good term, embellished, because it really is. You can look at it straight away and think, that's Bill Everett. The style is Bill Everett all the way through. It's been so Bill Everett, it just looks Bill Everett. And I love it. I love Bill Everett's artwork. And of course, the next one is actually a Bill Everett thing, Submariner. Just a classic Submariner. Again, the film Neymar, really, really good. I love that. I know I keep saying Neymar, it's actually obviously the Wakanda Forever. The story was split sort of in backwards. It was I thought it was very good. Anyway, off from that subject. But this one's also pretty good as well. And that's an unusual one. I remember that one. I saw that. Oh, that's the start of it. Let's just go to it. The Return of the Human Torch. So that was obviously the first one. That was the first one back in 1954, I think. I think it was Men's Adventures or something like that. One of those issues. And I love those stories. Those Human Torch stories. Absolutely brilliant. And this one, Mercury as well. Very unusual one. Still. And Captain America. Again, another one. There was a lot of these stories that they did from Atlas Comics. The Girl Who Was Afraid. Great title. So, very unusual. Ramita, I don't know who the artist was for that. Probably doesn't say. Unfortunately. Next issue. I love this one as well. The story's brilliant. And I just love the cover. That's the reason I bought this one. More than anything. I don't know why. It's just, I love covers that are yellow and red. Just happens to be yellow and red. Just seems a great colour combination on covers. And whenever I see one that's yellow and red, I always have a tendency to buy it. All stories complete. And it's got the Human Torch and Submariner story, which is really nice. And I love fantasy masterpieces. They were really good because, of course, I think they turned into that in the end. They didn't go on very long. And that's why that one's obviously got all the stories as well, the old. But these ones are very early stories. So you've got the very, very early Submariner. The artwork is fine. And it's at least hasn't been into the omnibus format. But it's still, I think it's still. One time I must admit I would have thought, oh, I don't really like that artwork. It looks very crude and rough. But now I look at it and think, well, actually, it's not that bad. Still, I always love, of course, the bullpen there. You've got all the various bulletins. And I don't know what that was, Spy Pen. Oh, Man from Uncle. Very nice. Man in the Beehive. Now, I always felt pretty sorry for that guy, Man in the Beehive. Now, he could have gone on to be a big star. B-Man or something. But then the other guy, Man in the Anthill, went on to be a big star. This guy, Beehive, didn't. Always a way, isn't it? Could have been a contender. Call her Medusa. Well, of course, she came back later, but that's slightly different. The terrifying Medusa. But great little story there. Larry Lieber. Script and art by Larry Lieber. I love that one. That was a good one. And then it's another cat story at the back. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, this is a good one. This is one, Death Plays the Scales. I just love that. Because I must admit, anyone playing violin like that probably would cause, yes, instant. This one's an old one. I just picked it up and maybe I shouldn't have, but I love 60s magazines. I've never seen a copy of this before. Showtime, Top Film Monthly. It completely escaped me. Obviously £1 shilling back then. But it's got lots of James Bond and other spy sort of stuff. This one, I Like to Shock, actress who invented the topless confesses. I have no idea who she is. But anyway, apparently Sylvia Casino. She's completely scut. Steve is back, and of course, obviously, article about Steve McQueen there, and also it's got, of course, loads of great adverts, and also one. Patty Boyd. I've got a book of Patty Boyd. Every girl can dress like a model with this fabulous free fashion book. Though it doesn't actually look like her. Is that Patty Boyd? Doesn't look like Patty Boyd to me. Still. This one's a very unusual one. Parade of Pleasure. Again, £3. I thought, well, why not? And anything that's got lovely books on the cover there, comic books. You can see all the different ones there. Joe Palooka, you've got the Blondie, Popeye, Crime, something, Kanga, a few others as well, Tim Holt. But it's not all comics, so it's got a really interesting article all about films. Then it's got some very interesting articles about comic books, Susie, Tilly the Toiler, but it's also got lots of games, lots of these sort of things, lots of pictures of various people reading comics. And what's better than that? I mean, I love this kid here. He's got Sensation Comics there. I don't know what issue it is. Probably issue 1. Probably selling it for about 1 cent or something, 5 cents. And wow. But I love that sort of thing. And also, of course, you're showing newsstands. You can't beat a good old newsstand. Though weirdly, it shows a newsstand, but it doesn't seem to have many comics on it. It's got lots of pulps. But no, because that might be probably a bit earlier than comics. But still, doesn't matter. It's still got lots of great little bits about comics. And also then into pulps and other ones here as well. So you've got Ellery Queen's Mystery Magazine. You've got other ones. But I love it. I love these sort of books. They're just fascinating to read. Okay, maybe the information is probably I, the Jury by Mickey Spillane. Great stuff. Now this is an odd one. And I have got no underground comics. Fogel's Price Guide. Underground. So I thought, oh, why not? And now I can't show some of the pictures in it. I was just reading through it. Out just on the train. And I opened the page and I thought, no, what? Who put that in there? There was one picture, I just thought, no. Luckily no one was around at that point. I thought, oh, blimey. So, yeah, but it's got lots of prices and things. But it's definitely not a book that you just randomly turn in. You just do not want to turn to certain pages. And you think, no, maybe not a good idea. But it's got lots and lots of great images about various things and obviously information about underground comics. And also on the back cover, which is really good. And this game was £3. Originally, apparently, it was £10. I don't know where they get all these books in Gosh. I often go in there and they have piles of these books. They must have a cellar or something with these books they just don't put on the shelves or something, because I've never seen that one before. And I go through the shelves quite, and this sort of thing I probably would pick up. But it's odd. Sometimes you just go in there and think, that's a very odd one to include. And likewise this one, because I'm certain I would have probably bought this if I'd seen it. The Adventurous Decade. Comic strips in the 30s. But still, I'm very happy that they put them out in their big box of bargain books. Reduced to clear at £3. And definitely, and I don't know, it looks like it, obviously, gosh, £18 or something. I can't make it out. It's under the sticker without moving it. Ron Goulart one. And it's black and white, of course. But it's got lots and lots of newspaper strips and also Superman and other things. So it's a lot of the comics of the 30s. Though I must admit, some of the pictures look a bit like the 1940s to me. So, and also some of the pictures made 1932, 1931, 1947. Yeah, wash tubs, 1947. I knew there were some pictures in here. You think, right, very strange. And also wash tubs. I always think that, I love that wash tubs one. Very unusual. Must look for more of those. Mate, 1947. But having a book when it says 1930s, you'd think all the ones in it would be of the 1930s. But still, lovely book. Now this one, I don't know what this is about. I assume, and I might be completely wrong, but I love the artwork. The artwork looks absolutely superb all the way through that. So I thought, wow, £3, I'll buy that. I'll give that a punt, as they would say. And Mirenda. Now, I don't know if it's Miranda from, obviously, The Tempest. I might be completely wrong interpreting that, Ariel and all those sort of characters. Maybe it's just very loosely based on it. Maybe it's not based on it. But But whatever it is, it just looked good. I thought, you know what, that's just looks a very nice, unusual fantasy book that I'm going to sit and enjoy it reading. Though there's not much in terms of dialogue. In fact, there's no dialogue at all. That, which is very unusual for a cover. I mean, you really got to have confidence in an artist that's going to put the complete story without any balloons at all. Is there any balloons? That is amazing. I didn't even notice the fact. Just shows I was just looking at the artwork thinking, wow, that just looks great. Just stunning. But that's one of the things I always think. I'm always surprised about Shakespeare and things that there's not more books. Sometimes you can see lots of books about like The Tempest or whatever. And you think there must be millions of opportunities for just superb stories to be told based on Shakespeare. Obviously, Victorian art, basically it was all based on Shakespeare, or the Bible and other things. But certainly a lot of it was Shakespearean themed, certainly pre-Raphaelites. But you got here, a very British affair. Now I'm going to be doing a review of this. I think this is amazing. It wasn't the book I was expecting. It came last week and I was expecting a more informative sort of like information book, you know, like not 500 pages, but 50 pages about all the various books. It was only a short introduction, but it's got lots and lots of stories. Really good. Before I do, obviously couldn't change the review. Here's all the ones, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. Lots and lots of stories. It's in black and white all the way through. But it is a very impressive book and nice hardback. Really, really worth getting. Now, related to this, seem to be going for romance ones at the moment. Obviously, love is in it. I suppose it's Valentine's, isn't it? So, Young Love. Showcase presents. Now, it's got some great artwork all the way through. Stories, I read through it on the train very quickly. On the way back home. I mean, they're all a bit... But still, this is Young Love, 39 to 40. You can see the general gist of it, 50. And the general stories. Private Diary of Mary Robin, Wonder Woman of History. Oh, that's the one thing that's quite nice, those sort of things. But the artwork's great. Really got John Romita. You've got many others that have included Come Into My Arms, that sort of stuff. But it's good. Really good. Worth checking out. You can see the artwork style change as it goes through the book. Obviously, the later period, you can see it's changed quite dramatically from the early sort of more... Well, but still beautifully drawn. Absolutely beautifully drawn. I don't know who the first one was. Let's have a look. Oh, John Romita. There's another one, John Romita. Don Heck. You got lots and lots of people there. Many well known. Kid Colt Outlaw. Love this sort of one. I quite often think this was about £1. Big 68 pages, or £2. I think it's £2 actually saying that. The return. Now, unfortunately, the cover is brilliant. John Severin. Now, I don't think it includes any John Severin in it. It might do, but I don't think so. But it does include lots and lots of pages of really great art in black and white. And these ones are great. The Prairie Kid, you know, great stories. This one, The Night Riders of Cimarron. But it's actually, unfortunately, you can hear it crack and the spine's not brilliant. This one does seem to include lots of Atlas stories. But it also includes Powell Smith, which I think is a DC comic one. I'm quite certain. Maybe I'm wrong that completely. But still, brilliant. I mean, look at that beautiful bit of artwork there. I love that sort of star. That is really good, just the underwater scene there. Just great. I've been reading the archive editions of this, but on my Kindle. So I thought, you know what, I must pick up a copy. And they're quite expensive, ridiculously expensive. These like £12, £15, some of these. But this one, like I found reasonably priced. I think it was about £3 or £4, £3, I think, for this one. Issue 22, where man once stood supreme, now rule the apes. And it's also got just superb artwork. And that's the reason I bought it as well. Alfredo Alcala. And just absolutely, I will be doing a review of this at some point because just brilliant. 13 Decades of the Ape. 13 decades, whatever. Is it? that's covering quite a bit of period. Anyway, and you've got some great bits, obviously, of cities, etc. Nuclear Armageddon. This one, Doom, Crumbling Ruin, etc. I've been enjoying, of course, The Last of Us, which has been absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to watch the last episode, the 4th episode. It'll be weird watching the last episode. But the third one was absolutely superb. The second one was superb. I've actually enjoyed all of them. I didn't think I was going to. It's one of those series I thought, you know what, I'm not going to enjoy it. Like Walking Dead, I thought, I've had it with zombie. I didn't. I just absolutely been thorough. So apparently the 4th one is supposed to be pretty amazing. I will be watching that over today and probably tomorrow, depending on various things. The Voice of the Wasp. Now, I buy quite a lot of coverless ones, and I've always a bit, what's the name of the coverless one, because sometimes you think, what issue number is it? And I think, have I got that one already? Which is always a problem. I thought, I'm sorry, I haven't got that one. The Voice of the Wasp. And that was a real good story where it's Hawkeye sort of listens to, obviously, the Wasp, and it's only sort of half a message. But you got my good old Atum. I won't say much. Actually, I thought they did him better in the film. I thought it was a better thing for Tuma. And I was over the moon about another character that turned up. I thought, yes, that is just great. So, but it's still, you got the Wasp. Of course, you can't beat the story with the Wasp. And so this one, a coverless, The Mighty Avenger. I think it's number 26 for £1. £2? £2, I think it was. However, this one was not my best purchase. Frogman, guys. I like to explore different ones, and I think, I'm not saying I'm not really into Frogman, but I thought, well, why not? Just make a punt on that. And number 3, I don't know how it got to issue 3, to be honest, but still. Big 68 pages, don't take less, which that's been cut off, unfortunately. Don't take less, it says probably there. But still, British one. The artwork's fine, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But I don't even know where the stories are from. They could be from, I'll have to investigate into the different origins of some of these stories. Because some of the artwork, now that artwork does look very familiar. So I can't say. But this one, which is actually one of the better ones, this is a pirate story. Gambling rogue of the 18th century England. Calico, it must be Calico, mustn't it? And you've got some nice artwork, but it's nice to have a pirate story. Now, if they brought out a comic book, Pirate Comics, I would have bought that straight away. Frogman Comics, I don't know, there's something about the stories are just not that good. And weirdly, many of the stories are not even about Frogman. So why call it Frogman Comics? It's nutty, because you've got here, cross-country Columbus. It's all about a plane. Very strange. Unless there's somewhere in the story. No, there's no Frogman in the story. No, not a single Frogman in that story. Why call it Frogman stories? Very strange. But they did do these ones. Now, you never could work out which company these ones were. This is one of the things that's very odd. I don't even think now. Hillman Periodicals. And they also did some others as well. Avengers in the Weird Worlds and Black Magic. Watch for these famous titles on the bookstore. Famous! Frogman stories, comics. This one is a very odd one, but I haven't, and it's fallen to pieces. But I thought, I often pick up these ones. Justice League America. And anything, this one I haven't got, 47. So it fills another gap in my collection of Justice League. I suspect I will never get all of the Justice League of Americas. Obviously 1 and 2 are pretty pricey. So likelihood, I've got all the omnibuses, but I do like to have even battered copies of the originals as well. I've reviewed this already. I loved it. Captain Marvel, it's some great and there's some pretty awful stories in it, but it's still a pretty impressive. And I'm so over the moon that finally we got the Captain Marvel one here. You can see all these. Like I said, this came last week. I've got a couple of books coming this week that I'm looking forward to, and I'll probably be doing those next week in one of my hauls. 1973, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. Chronicles. Now, the one I wanted to get, and I haven't been able to find a copy of it, 1967 one. I love that period. Patrick Troughton, great period of Doctor Who TV programmes. But this one, obviously the 1973, really quite interesting little book, full of some great stuff about all the comic books. Also, I remember those. Just you've got those little stamps or whatever you want to call them. And you've also got, I love that bit as well. There was just great selections of, obviously, Katie Manning there and many others. Actually, I'm surprised they didn't include the famous one with a certain Dalek. That probably would not have got the book in. Might have had some trouble with that one. But still, mastering the Dalek plans. For many reasons, Radio thing. Also, it mentions the various magazines that came out as well. Of course, the Radio Times. There was also a special that came out. And also, it also includes the other things on the box at the time. And you had programmes like Hunter's Walk. I must admit, that completely passed me by. But I love these books. The ITV 1970. I've got quite a few of those. And I'm always picking those up. And they're always just great. Of course, you always have to remember that it's the year before more than anything, even though it's, I don't know, I always get confused about which year it is. But still, you've got all the pictures. You see, obviously, it's all backdated pictures. And you've got here anthologies. Some of these, Ronnie Barker, recently I watched a TV programme about this, Ronnie Barker's anthology. I hadn't realised this 7 of 1 would spawn the sitcoms Porridge and Open All Hours. Just fascinating. I just did not realise. Look, it's got Look in there, in the schedules, Day of the Daleks. You've also got $6 Million Man was on at that time, UFO, Tarzan, Bonanza, The Persuaders, New Faces. Never watched that. Scotch on the Rocks, Adam, Leap in the Dark. I mean, so many. ITV, I didn't watch so many. I mean, I watched some of them, but some of those I just do not know. What's it say? Scotch on the Rocks. Oh, that was a Scottish one. A near future narrative concerning armed uprising in the Scottish Liberation Army at a time of political crisis. Won't get into that. That's all the books I've got. I've always come away from the various comic marts thinking, I wish I'd bought that book, and there was lots that I'd put down, and afterwards I thought, but you just can't buy everything. It was a very enjoyable one this time. I was quite pleased because sometimes I've gone to them and I've come away not buying anything or not enjoying it. But it was busy. It was like amazingly busy. I was quite surprised. The queue before 12 o'clock was out the door, looking massive, and even during the time 11 o'clock, because you can go in at 11 o'clock if you want to pay £5 up front, and the queue there was massive as well, because I was just having a cup of coffee, and it was just, I was thinking, wow, that's the busiest I've seen it for a long time. I assume and hope that everyone did really well in there. So that's, like I say, and Gosh as well was great. I love Gosh, really worth checking out. Anyway, hope you found this big book haul of interest. I'm just going to go off and do some, well, I've just come back actually from the gym, just having a good swim and exercising. I love doing that. So I'm going to go off and do some more exercising later. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So hope you have a nice day. Bye.